be on Manchester City. They have moved into the second place in the English Premier League, 2 points behind leaders Liverpool. And so we're asking if Arsenal and Liverpool do have the what it takes to really stop them from winning another English Premier League title. Details of this and many more will be yours in a jiffy.
This is when they're at their best. It's when they're 12 years for this. So drink it in. Still goes to Arsenal, New Zealand. Do I need love to be immortality as an athlete? 19.79. It's a goal. It's 8 goals.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly. Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Good evening, welcome back. It's time to get started here, and of course we have so much to discuss, so we'll get straight to business. We'll start with other sports, and we'll start with weightlifting. We are Team Nigeria not doing badly at all when it comes to weightlifting activities, in Egypt, and it looks like our weightlifters are, on top. But before we go into all that, I want to welcome the man joining me this evening, Emmanuel Michael, to the studio.
Good evening, and good evening to our viewers out there.
All right, good evening and welcome back. Of course, let's get started here. Nigerians are known for weightlifting. So just the way we are known for football, we're also known for wrestling. But when you see the big names in these categories doing so well, like Rafiatu, Folashade Lawal, and Adija Tadineke, who they won 6 medals at the ongoing Africa Senior Weightlifting Championship in Egypt. They competed in the 59 kg class women category, and Adija dominated the category as they carted away the top prizes in the one of the championship, which also serves as Paris 2024 Olympic qualifier. For Lawal, gold medal winner in Tunisia last year, established her superiority in the category as she once again, claimed all the available 3 gold medals. I mean, when you hear Nigeria dominating in this level, just one thing that massive preparation ahead of what is to come.
Yes, definitely. I totally want to agree with you. And for me, when you talk about the weightlifting, this is another area where I would say that we have a comparative advantage, over other sports. When you talk about weightlifting, wrestling, and football, these are 3 areas where Nigerians are known, of their strength when it has to do with, sport generally. And for me, I'm not surprised because we've seen Khadija, during this time. Last time out, she has shown consistency. And again, one positive thing that we must take home is that this is an Olympic year. And it's always good to know that some of our athletes, or our sportsmen and women is starting the year in a good footing, especially when it has to do with an Olympic year. Don't also forget that this is you know, a year where we'll be having all the African games as well, that is coming up at Ghana as well. So I think with this massive feat from her, I think the future, we say, is very bright for this year in the African Games, and also, you know, for the big one that is coming up at Paris, talking about the Olympic Games.
Well, talking about Olympic Games, it reminds me of you know, wrestling, where the president of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Chief Daniel Igali, has described, he just concluded the national wrestling trials for the All-African Games and the Olympic qualifiers in Accra, Ghana, and Alexandria in Egypt as well contested. Now, Chief Igali, who of course was full of praise for the athletes that have qualified, thinks that the next thing now is, you know, showed enormous commendation for the athletes. Of course, I don't expect anything less when you look at the fact that they have done well. You need to commend them even before we know. Look at the challenges that comes ahead.
Yes, of course. You know, it is very good whenever some of them go out there, or when they start on a good footing. It is also good for us to commend them as well. You know, and for me, I think it just boils down to an early preparation. You know, because this is just a step up games toward you know, waiting for the All-African game that will take place Accra, Ghana are there. So for me, and Daniel Igali, the president of the federation, is one man who also have seen it all when you talk about in the wrestling out there, and I believe that he has what it takes. Having won the shoe before, you know, and also brought so many honor, you know, to the nation called Nigeria. Now he has been saddled with the responsibility of you know, manning that affair in the administrative cadre. So having passed through, you know, that stage in life, you are expecting to be doing well, because like I said, he has won the shoe before. He knows where it actually pinches. He knows that early preparation is key for you to be able to become successful out there when you get to the, you know, All-African game. Because there is one thing about that we always wait until the dying minute of the, you know, before we start this rush hour approach, where we call fire brigade, which for me, it does not give some of our athletes or our weightlifters or wrestlers to be able to compete favorably well with their peers out there. Because if you don't prepare early, you are going out there, you will not be very confident of yourself out there. So I think early preparation for me is the key. And thank God we have a man that truly understands what it means to start preparation in earnest, talking about Daniel Igali.
Daniel Igali, full of praises for the athletes, the wrestlers that have distinguished themselves in the trials, pointing out that his joy was that every weight class was well attended to, and that's very important, because it is one thing for you to qualify, and if you qualify without getting to all the weight classes, it's a problem, because in that place we have all the weight classes that will be represented. So I think it's good that we also qualified and all the weight classes are represented, and maybe will be competed for in Ghana.
Yes, of course. What it means is that we'll be competing from all fronts in all of the categories out there, and that is quite commendable, because if we don't get to rack you know, silverware in one you know, category, we'll definitely, you know, have our hands on another, you know, category, and this is the beauty of it. And again, we have a few home base out there also coming up, you know, through the rank. We also have some rookies as well who also, you know, join the fray as well and exhibit their talents out there. And of course, for me, if some of them who also have the ability, what it takes, they have the technical know-how, they have the strength, they have the skills as well, you know, is being picked along. I mean, the spirit of catch them young would definitely, you know, come to stay if we try to catch them young, give them the platform to be able to express themselves. I think it's going to be for the benefit of the nation, and most especially for the fact that they're taking part in all of the categories. It gives us even a more larger opportunity and advantage when we are going out there, that knowing fully well that if we don't, you know, get it right in one category, definitely the athletes in the other category can also rack up a medal. So for me, I think it's very massive.
Very massive, and that's the level we are. We're hoping that we can do the needful when it comes to representing Nigeria at the African Games, and also, you know, when the Olympic comes formally. But away from that, let's move now to other areas of sports, and let's see what you know, is happening. And this time we'll talk about things that are happening. We'll talk about the fact that Nigerian the Tigers are also preparing massively. The forward Elizabeth Balogun has declared her readiness to secure the ticket for Nigeria. The FIBA Olympic qualifying is scheduled to tip off from February 8th to 11th in Antwerp, with 16 teams competing for 12 places at this year's summer 2024 Paris Olympic, and Team Nigeria should be able to pick a ticket.
Yes, of course, they should be able, but it's not going to be on a platter of gold, because we know the team that we are going to face up there. We are going to meet the likes of United States of America. We are going to face the likes of Senegal. We are going to face the likes of Belgium. These are heavyweights. You know, these are world powers when you talk about, basketball. But then, you know, we also have our own prestige and dignity as well to protect as well. And again, looking at the squad or the players that Rena Wakama has also invited, you will say, yes, these are the players that are on the top of their game out there. I mean, they have players being invited from Belgium down to France, down to United States of America. And again, with the injection of some new, home breed out there, we have about 2 or 3 players that came from the ranks, some plying their trade with the, custom out there. So I think with the blend of this home base and that of foreign base players, is going to give us the strength. And of course, before Rena Wakama could be able to invite all these players, she has done, her own, job as well. She has been able to peruse through the record of some of these, players, and truly, she knows that the people that have been selected truly have what it takes to go out there and pick one of those.
Now my concern is Rena Wakama is not based in Nigeria.
Yeah.
She's based abroad in the US. I mean, and a lot of time we've always said that the national team coaches should be from Nigeria, should stay in Nigeria to pin her talent. But from what she has been able to do, what she has done, it tells that you may not be based in Nigeria, but you can also pick her talent when necessary. So her job as an assistant coach in her club is also to look out for, okay, what is happening around the national team, be a scout, so that like tournament like this, they have barely few days, 2 days now to kick off this one. And I'm asking, does it have any implication whatsoever?
I do not think so. Wherever you are based, it doesn't matter. What matters is that your ability to put your nose on the ground, to be able to fish out the best players. Of course, you can also, give her that benefit of that. Considering how, late we started preparation in the last, Afro basketball, league out there, which she became the first female, coach out there to go and win that very one. We said that we have barely, less than 2 weeks to prepare for that one, but yet she was able to tinker the team around and we became, champion. Having spent about so many months down the line right now, you expect her to have settled down properly, do her scouting as well, and get it, right. So you don't necessarily need to stay here before you can be able to put your nose on the ground and fish out some of the best players out there for me.
Another implication is that they need to win those games. If they need to drive so hard to pick a ticket, in this particular one, this is just the beginning. We'll have another one again in September. We'll have another one again before the Olympic. But my thinking is, we've not heard from the MBBF. We've just heard, okay, yeah, but I'm sure that for her to call up these names, the MBBF would have also been in town. But I'm here to get to hear from officially from the MBBF, the preparation on ground, what is expected, what they've done to ensure, just like this NFF when it comes to the Super Eagles.
Yeah. And for me, that is only the challenge out there. Like you said, we've not had an official statement from the NBBF saying telling the world that this is when they are expecting some of these players to arrive in camp. This is how long they are going to stay in camp, and this is how far they are going to prepare, and this is where they are going to stay to prepare. We've not had such an official statement, but then less than 3-4 days down the line where the competition will be kicking off the qualifier, we just had that Rena Wakama have assembled or invited so many players out there. But then, for me, I think there might have been a very proper communication between the coach talking about Rena Wakama and the NBBF before she can be able to draw up these players out there. So, but then, the truth is that we need to start getting it right. We need to always start preparation in earnest, because you can't actually expect so much from a coach without giving the coach the necessary tools to work with. What are the tools? Early preparation, provide them with the necessary things that they need to start preparation in earnest, in camp. The players must be in camp. Tell them this is where we want you guys to start, camping, and this is where we expect all the players to arrive in camp. And this is what we are giving you, but those things were not made to the public. We weren't aware, if they should have, informed the public. I think most of sport journalists should have been aware, but so long as I'm concerned, to my best of knowledge, I haven't seen such a statement being released from the NBBA. But then, I feel for me, there might have been a proper communication between Ren and Wakama and the authority before she went ahead to invite these players.
All right, of course, and that's what we expect. We'll get to see massive preparation in days to come. But 2 days from now, that particular one will kick off in Antwerp. We tip off in Antwerp, and we hope that the Tigers will do the needful, put up, fine show. They are the champions. When it comes to Africa, they need not lower their guard in a quest to, get the ticket. Pick one of the tickets out of the 12 that will be in Paris 2024 games. Away from that, let's talk tennis now. And Emma Raducanu claimed a straight set win over Maria Buskova to set up a second round match with Ons Jabeur at the Abu Dhabi Open.
I think it's a great one for her, but then we should be consistent in this very one. That is another question, because we saw her, exiting the Australian Open very early in the second round out there. Due to maybe because of the fact that she has been away from the court, courtesy of injury. But then I think it's a good one to know that she's starting in a very good note this time around. But then she's going to have to face a real litmus test where she comes up against her own Ons Jabeur. And Ons Jabeur, for me, I think is another player that have an experience. This is going to be the true test for Emma Raducanu. But then I feel she has also started in a good footing as well.
After winning in 2021, she has never won against a top 10 opponent in 4 attempts. And will she announce her arrival again or herself against Ons Jabeur? Ons Jabeur herself has also been in fine form. I mean, we saw her, she was also ousted out in the Australian Open. And maybe if she gets to win against Ons Jabeur, that a lot of people will start thinking that she's back, at that top level.
For me, I just feel that those players are the same pair, because Ons Jabeur as well, she's not very, very consistent.
But she's in the top 10.
Yes, she's in the top 10. We saw how she exited the Australian Open very early as well. And last season as well, she nearly came close, to the title, but at the point where we thought maybe she was going to break that jinx of mere success syndrome, she just, had to lose guard and let that one go. Coming to the Australian Open as well, one thought that maybe she would be able to also up her game this year in the Australian Open, but unfortunately she also, crashed out early in the tournament. So I just feel that both pairs, they are evenly matched.
Both pairs evenly matched, and of course we'll get to keep our finger crossed and see how good they do turn out when they face each other, and we hope to inform you what the result will be. But let's talk about Formula One now. Formula One bosses have announced changes to the format of sprint races for this season. Free practice and the sprint qualifying will be on Friday, with the spring races as the first track action will be on Saturday, followed by qualifying for the main Grand Prix. Saturday had previously been separated out as a sprint focus day. There will be 6 sprint races this year in China, Miami, Austria, and the US Grand Prix in Austin, Brazil, and Qatar. Formula One's governing body, the FIA, said the regulatory refinements or changes to the sprint format will be presented to the World Motorsport Council on 28th of this month. So we'll see how that goes. But then, before we leave the shores of other sports, I'll just tell you, in athletics, Noah Nyes says he wants to win all the Olympic medals after seeing a personal best in winning the 60-meter at the Boston Indoor Grand Prix. I mean, all the athletes, we also saw what Amoshu did some time ago. I mean, when they win at that level, every win is a motivation for the Olympics.
Yes, of course, and it's quite understandable that every win at this point in time, is a motivation for some of the athletes out there. And of course, it gives them that, that morale booster. It gives them that confidence, believing in themselves that if they can, do it at this point in time, they can also build on that. And especially this is an Olympic year, so every victory from this athlete, goes a whole long way. To motivate them. It means a whole lot for them. So that is why she's talking very tough. And you don't expect anything less from that victory.
You don't expect anything less, truly, and that's what we hope to see in the coming days. But with that now, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at what is happening in the African Cup of Nations. I mean, a whole lot as Nigeria prepares for their semi-final clash against the Bafana. Not forgetting that we shall also do more on Manchester City. They're back in the second place now. Does that pose any threat to the likes of Arsenal and Liverpool? Don't go anywhere, we're back.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history,
We are one people, all of us.
leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blow.
I have fought a very family, natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Alright, all is set for the commencement of the second stanza of the Nigeria Premier Football League. But before then, welcome back for that short break. It's still Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Michael is still here. Yes, we are counting down to the start of the MPFL this weekend, and it looks like a lot is at stake now. Some of the outstanding matches have been played. For Rivers United, they still have some. They are still trying to get those ones. But finally, the AFCON ends this weekend, and the MPFL resumes this weekend. I don't think it's a coincidence.
No, I do not think, and that is why they had to plan very well for this.
I think it's on 14th thereabout. It's about 14th, just after the AFCON.
Yes, they had to check their calendar so that they can be able to realign it with that of CAF, ongoing African Cup of Nations, so that they don't take away their attention, because if they actually continue to have a divided attention, because some of them will be focusing on the league while others will be focusing on the African Cup of Nations. So they had to take that little break to allow the African Cup of Nations run, so that they can be able to focus properly on the league. Whenever the league starts, they know that yes, they are down to business. And some of the teams as well, they have been very preparing very serious, knowing fully well that the African Cup of Nations will come to a climax. In fact, it will come to an end this weekend. So some of the their camps are all open, and the teams, they have all told their players to come back to training, because they need to start training and so that they can keep up to that pace when the league officially kickstart again. So I think it was very great rest for the players as well.
great rest for the players as well, and let's see how it goes. And one thing I can tell you is that I will need more to be done, and clearly it looks like the league will resume soon. A lot of preparations and clubs are already talking to. But let's move away from the league and let's look at the things to be talked about. And one of them is the African Cup of Nations, the 34th edition of the show, and we are in the semi-final stage. I mean, a lot has been said. Goals scored. The stats are high, and if you look at the stats, look at the penalties, look at the things that make up the AFCON, you just want to think that the AFCON so far, at this stage, you can't rule out the excitement we have seen, looking at the stats from the games played, the number of goals, down to the VAR.
Definitely, looking at the stats is very, very massive. About 113 goals scored so far in 48 games. I think that has been very massive. We are having an average of 2.35% ratio of goals scored by each game, which for me, it tells you that most of the game played, you can't see 0-0. Especially even in the group stage as well. We just had about 2 teams that played 0-0, or 1 team, if I'm not mistaken. So it tells you that in each game, you will definitely expect goals. And what keeps the fans excited and happy, keeping them on their toes, is when goals come, you see the fans jubilating out there. So it raises the tempo and morals of the game, So for me, looking at the stats, it has been very, very massive. About 60-something, 71 assists so far. It tells you that, the defense line of everything has been very, very tight. And the VAR calls about 90-something%, which is very, very marvelous. It's not to be compared with what you see in the English Premier League. Just the start of this season, we saw the controversy about, the VAR, issue with Arsenal game, Liverpool and some other clubs out there who also, were victim of wrong deployment of the VAR or the wrong calls out there. But since the start of this African Cup of Nations, we've seen a near perfect, VAR calls out there. So I think it has been very, very massive.
Very, very massive, and I can tell you for sure that it will even be more massive as time goes on, because Nigeria will be preparing to lock horns with Bafana tomorrow, and a lot from the camp of the Super Eagles, including that of Victor Osimhen.
Yes, of course, a lot is going on right now in the camp of the Super Eagles. But we got a shocking news yesterday that Victor Osimhen didn't actually travel with the squad down to the city where we'll be playing our games tomorrow. So people began to get worried. But fortunately, this afternoon we also received a positive news that Victor Osimhen, will definitely be featured in that very game, which for me I think is a sign of relief, because we know Victor Osimhen as a hustler. We know the quality he has been able to bring into the team. People will say, yes, he has not scored a much-needed goal. He has just scored 1 goal. But then the work ethics, the work rate in the team, is something that you can't take away. And if Victor Osimhen is not fit for that one, I don't actually see any other striker that can be able to bring that energy, that Victor Osimhen bring to the squad. So I think it's a positive one for the Super Eagles. Now,
I'm just wondering, before the game tomorrow against Bahana, the Super Eagles we saw, a lot of people never had hopes on them. What changed for the Super Eagles? At what point did we see that change and that belief that has gotten us to this level?
Very simple. It's a shared commitment and a belief of the players. This is a long time where we see this kind of unity among the players, where each player is ready to fight for each other on the pitch of play and off the pitch as well. They also share this, unity among themselves. You see, on the pitch of play, unlike some of the squad in the time past, where when we are playing, when they lose possession of the ball, you just see some of the players very lackadaisical. They don't want to fight for the ball. They only fight when the ball gets to your own wing before you want to go and start marking. But no, it's a different ball game, in this African Cup of Nations, where if you see any slightest mistake from any player out there, you see the next man, trying to close up that gap. So there is this fighting spirit among the players, coupled with the tactical, formation, which Joseph Pizarro have also introduced, taking us away from the traditional 4-3-3 formation that the Super Eagles is known for, to 3-4-3 formation. So for me, these are some of the ingredients that have actually, made the Super Eagles to look as though they are very much compact this time around.
Hugo Bruce and his men, they have also something going for them. They never started the group stages, on a blistering note, but somehow, they have also grown as in each stage of the competition, looking at the likes of Morocco and all
Yeah.
that, does that in any way pose a strong threat to Nigeria?
Yes, of course. South Africa, they pose a strong threat against the Super Eagles. One, the bulk of their players are there. They are applying their trade for the South African League. In short, 9 to 10 players of the South Africans, they play their football out there for one club, talking about Mamelodi Sundowns. So you expect that unity, to exist among the players, because why? They play week in, week out in their league out there. And again, they understand the African terrain. So these are some of the things that makes them even more compact. They can be able to hold on to the ball. They, play possessive kind of football, and their players, they are very young. They are agile. They can run for a living. So these are some of the qualities that makes it look as though they pose a great threat. And again, this is a new crop of players. They want to write their own history, and by so doing, they want to put out their best out there. But if it's head-to-head, we understand that the Super Eagles will always, head and shoulder above the, Bafana boys. But then, I feel for me, in this kind of game where we get to this crucial stage, I do not think that a past record or history has anything to do with this very one. It boils down to the, seriousness, the tenacity, the dedication, and the resilience of the players are there to go into the pitch of play and be able to get the job done and dusted. And I know that the last players that actually won the last Nations Cup for the Super Eagles in 2013 with the late Stephen Keshi, it is only 2 of those players that is still in this squad, Ahmed Musa and Kenneth Umeru. The rest of the players that are in this African Cup of Nations for the Super Eagles, they are new players that have not tested the African Cup of Nations. So therefore, they want to also write their own history. So these are some of the ingredients that even make the game more enticing.
Ingredients that will make the game more enticing, but let's see how it goes. But if South Africa gets to win against Nigeria tomorrow, one thing that will be clearly written is the fact that African players in the continent have an upper hand when it comes to the AFCON. Maybe this time, because we've seen a lot of a lot of teams done so well. The DR Congos of this world, So to show that AFCON has come of age. The beauty of the CAF Champions League and also the CAF competitions might also be very high if we see any drama from the game between Nigeria, South Africa, and DR Congo, Ivory Coast. Don't you share in that sentiment?
Yes, of course. Even without waiting for South Africa to, defeat the Super Eagles, only if they can, it is already very clear that the African League, and the African football is improving, and their league as well is improving from all facets. Take a look at the South African team, which is their players is almost made up of home base. The Cape Verde team as well, almost a home base team out there. So it's telling you one thing, that African League is gradually getting to that top where we can be able to beat our chest and say yes, we are ready to take the African football to the world. So, but then I dare to say that the South African League is one of the best leagues when you talk about African League. Yeah, you mentioned South African League, you mentioned Egyptian League, Moroccan League. These are some of the leagues that we've seen a large chunk of improvement, and that is why if you listen to the statement of Cameroon talking about Samuel Eto'o. Immediately Cameroon exited the tournament. He came out to voice his anger. He said that it looked as though these foreign-based players, that plays for Cameroon national team, they don't understand the value, what it is to don on the national team jersey. That in his days he can play 3 games in a day. That whenever he's done on that, Cameroon jersey, you want to fight for everything. So he said that their players, their team, need to understand the need for them to always, grow from the home front, because, he said that they understand what the people feel. They know where the shoe pinches them. But when you go and aggregate all these European-based players, they seem not to understand the norms, the ethics, the philosophy of the national team. So I will agree in that regard, but then that is not to say that the African League will totally dominate. We understand those of them that apply their trade abroad, they have better facilities as well to train with. Their salaries coming, as at when due. These are some of the things that make it look as though, they are better compared to the home-based player. But then the home-based players, they understand what it means because they know the culture. They grow here, they were grown here. They understand the feeling, the passion of the African nature. So I think these are some of the things that make it, look different. But then one thing stand out is that African football is definitely improving.
African football is definitely improving, and that is what we think. And of course, we know we'll get to even see more when the time comes. But then let's also look at other things that is happening in the African Cup of Nations, and that's the fact that as they prepare, the Ivorian teams may not have the full complement of the players going to this particular one, because we hear that 4 of those players will not be part of the team.
Well, that is a big disadvantage for the Ivorians. Having 4 players, key players, not being part of this very one at this crucial stage, I think will definitely affect them. But then they have no option. They have to, improvise because they have other players added. Don't forget, before coming to this African Cup of Nations, it is expected that every nation or every team that is taking part in this very one must submit your 25-man or 27-man squad added. So it doesn't mean that if your 4 players are not, are not going to take part in this very.
It's even an opportunity for you to give to other players.
So, and before you could invite 27 players, it means that you have
confidence in all of them.
You have confidence in them that they can.
But the truth is that they are not the same coaches. I mean, Emerson Faye is not the same coach as Gallet that was, that initially brought those players. So, I mean, Faye now have enough, a lot of duty or work cut out for him.
Definitely, he has a whole lot, duty to do out here. But then I believe he's equal to the task. Anyone that is called to, play the first 11, I think it will be an opportunity for such a French player to also, seize the opportunity and showcase his talents to the world.
Seize the opportunity and showcase your talent to the world, and that's very important as we count down. And also we heard that Walid Regragou, the Moroccan coach, while other coaches are being sacked, some are resigning, he has been given a nod to continue with the Atlas Lions.
Yes, of course, it's quite simple while they are doing so. The man wanted to train the towel because of his abysmal out in the African
I love the fact that he took responsibility for the failure of the team, and he said that he has failed, and not the players.
Yes, of course, and it is quite expected. Whenever the coach succeeds in any club, the glory goes to the coach, and if the team fails, the coach also get the hammer. So he understands, this, statistics. He understands the reality that whenever a team fails, then the blame is certainly going to be on the coach. While they are coming for the African Cup of Nations, they were basking on the euphoria of their exploits at the World Cup, getting to the semi-final of the World Cup. The coach was talking very tough. And in fact, they were the first country, apart from the host nation, to arrive first in Ivory Coast, and people began to say, okay, this is a team that is very serious, while Super Eagles is still, being camped at, Qatar or Abu Dhabi or wherever, So, but for me, I think the coach has come out to take responsibility. But then the FA see that, they have a future because they will be hosting the next African Cup of Nations. So the coach will be very, very instrumental. If you sack him right now and bring another coach, another coach will come in with a different philosophy, and that will possibly even scatter the team as long. So I think it's a wise decision from the Moroccan.
Wise decision from the Moroccan, and of course, what more can we say? We'll get to see how it goes. But it looks like the Confederation of African Football are even more concerned about any country that did not have a video assistant referee in their league. That could be a challenge on its own. I mean, you may not be having referees posted at that level, and it's a bit, not just for Nigeria. That means we're going to see referees, rotating from South Africa, maybe Morocco, and some of the Egypt, and some of the countries that have really gone far in terms of technology.
Yes, of course, CAF is not left aside. They want to keep up with the pace of the advent of technology, and that is why they've made it clear in their conference yesterday that any league, any nation or any African country that does not deploy, VAR in their league, you don't have a chance to be selected in your refereeing. So for me, and I think the NPFL board were very, very, on point, where they actually made it very known earlier that they were going to start using the VAR. Maybe it was like a dream, or they foresaw the future, and that is why they had to take that step. But for me, I think it's going to be a good one for the league. Having seen that the VAR has come to stay, you need to be master of the VAR before you can be picked as a referee. If you don't know how to use the VAR, then you don't expect CAF, to invite you for any CAF organizer competition. So I think this should be a responsibility for the league.
No, but the responsibility comes with money. I mean, having a VAR entails that you need to have funding. You need to also train manpower for this. And I ask, CAF, have they done enough to to have taken this decision in terms of development trainings, in terms of empowering or encouraging the fundings for this particular technology?
I think for me, what CAF is looking at is the next African Cup of Nations, because this year it's already done and dusted. They are looking at the next competition, and by so making that kind of statement, I know most of the countries or most of the league will take note of this decision from the CAF and start massive preparation. And by then, I believe CAF is going to send a financial support to each of the federations to be able to assist them in manpower training and all of that.
CAF not doing bad when it comes to CAF, and then you look at it from the angle of the VAR. We have seen what VAR does or has done in this African Cup of Nations. A lot of calls there have been instigated by VAR. A lot of decision has been concluded by VAR. A lot of errors would have been allowed if not for VAR. So I think that CAF also might have been encouraged by the fact that the VAR team have been on point, and the VAR itself, the video assistant referee, has also done a lot in terms of looking at some of these loopholes that would have maybe endangered the outcome of the AFCON.
Yes, of course. The deployment of VAR has gone a whole long way to improve the game. And that is why in some of the game, one of the games that I actually watched, Senegal, I've forgotten the country they played against, where Sadio Mane had to use a footed tackle against a player, but the VAR did not actually capture it. Neither the ref give any card for that offense, and because that tackle was what a red card, but Mane was allowed to go.
I think it was given a yellow card in that one.
Yes. I don't think he wasn't even given any card.
He was given a yellow card.
Okay, but that should be a red card because it was a hard, hard tackle out there. So because of that, that ref that officiated that game has been suspended, including all the VAR officials. They have been suspended, from that video. So you see the massive improvement that the VAR has brought to the African Cup of Nations, and that is why CAF have deemed it necessary that if your league don't start deploying VAR, then you don't have a chance of being selected as a referee.
Well, let's see how far we'll continue to bring you more updates from the ongoing African Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast. We'll go on a short break. We'll just come back and then we'll wrap up conversation with the club football in Europe. Don't go anywhere, stay locked here.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very firmly. Natural occurrence, war.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Come back, I see Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. We are already grinding down to the end of the show, but quickly let's talk about the English Premier League. And of course, we saw a game yesterday. Brentford at the Community Stadium lost 3-1 to Manchester City, and a lot of talking points have emanated from this particular one, Michael.
Yes, of course, it was very crucial game for Manchester City because, you know, looking at what happened between Brentford and Manchester City last season, you would definitely agree with me that it was a very, you know, tough game for Manchester City because this same Brentford defeated Manchester City last season. If I'm not mistaken, they defeated Manchester City home and away. So getting into that one, there was this palpable fear on the side of, you know, Manchester City and Pep Guardiola if they are going to repeat the same loss against them. And before you could say Jack, Brentford took the lead. So it looked as though it was going to be what happened last season, but then Phil Foden, you know, have to reply with, you know, an equalizer, and they went on to score a hat-trick in that very one, and, you know, Manchester City took all the 3 points. And as it stands right now, they are just 1 point, you know, behind the league leaders. Yes, Liverpool.
I think 2 points.
No, just 1 point with one standing game. So if Manchester City get to win their standing game, it means that they will be toppling Liverpool with just 1 point. And whenever Manchester City assume, you know, the first position in the league,
it's because
just
to
know
it
it,
down.
and especially this time, just know that it's done and dusted.
But unlike before, I mean, it's not a two-horse race.
Yeah.
We have the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, and Liverpool are motivated by the fact that Jurgen Klopp will be stepping out at the end of the season. For Arsenal, they want to win this trophy that eluded them last season. And for Manchester City, they want to showcase that they are still the best team in England. Not forgetting other teams that are coming behind. So, but I ask, for Manchester City now, they are yet to lose in their last 5 games.
Yeah.
So they, and one is thinking, I mean, with the way things are going, how easy or difficult for Pep Guardiola to lay his hand on this particular one, looking at all these stats that I've just read out?
It's very simple. Liverpool, for me, I do not think they are a very strong threat to Manchester City. Jurgen Klopp with his men, over the last years that he has been in the league, he has just stopped, you know, Manchester City and Pep from not carrying the league for just 1 season, you know, which is the COVID-19 era. Arsenal, they are butlers. Arsenal is not a team that you can say, yes, they can be able to stay very consistent, because we know how they definitely capitulate at the end of the season, when it's getting to the end of the season. And of course, a colleague who is in the house is just telling me, you know, behind the scene, that the father as well used to punish them, you know, when Arsenal loses, because he was an Arsenal fan out there. So, and you know, this thing has been long, over 20 years right now.
But maybe Arsenal can right the wrong. They can use this one to right the wrong. That could even be a motivation for them to doing the needful, stopping. They are at the same point with Manchester City. It's just a matter of goal difference, and with one extra game to play. But extra game to play is not the same thing as point at hand.
The truth is that Arsenal fans should just start lowering their expectation right now before they get BP. You know, because Arsenal is not that team that you can bank on and say, yes, they will go for the killer out there. You know, last season they actually have everything at their, you know, beck and call to have lifted the league. Is it now that Manchester City is breathing down their neck that they want Arsenal to go and win the league? Another team that you even talk about is Aston Villa, you know, tutored by Unai Emery. We've seen the kind of beautiful football that, you know, Aston Villa have played this season, and also kept that home record that was broken, you know, just last week, about 14 to 15 games unbeaten at home. So it tells you that is the only team that I'll be banking on, other than Arsenal, because Arsenal, I do not think that they have what it takes to, you know, to hunt this title. Liverpool as well. Whenever Manchester City gets to the top of the league at this crucial stage, my brother, it will be very, very difficult. Even when Manchester City were seated 4th on the log, you know, with about 6 to 7 point disparity between them and Liverpool, this same Pep Guardiola came to the media and made it equivocally clear that Manchester City was going to still lift the league. This is a man talking with all amount of authority when they were seated fourth on the table. Is it now that they are gradually crawling their way back to the top that you want them to start dropping points? No.
Well, let's keep our finger crossed, but that will be all this evening on Sports Extraordinary. And of course, we anticipate the game tomorrow. This time tomorrow, we should be thinking whether Nigeria will qualify to the finals or still dragging down against Bafana. Thank you for joining us. Let's do this again tomorrow. Equa Temple is my name. I did the show with Emmanuel Michael. Have a lovely evening. But you can go to our social media platform at Atlantic Television Network, Facebook, Instagram, and X to join further conversation. Don't go anywhere.